Last year, I made a video sharing 12 hopes that I had for Series 12 of Doctor Who. With the series now having been and gone, I thought it would be the perfect time to look back on that video and see if Series 12 ultimately succeeded in being everything I wanted it to be. I hope you enjoy. So the first item on my list is I want Chris Chibnall to either write better stories or to just write less episodes entirely. So this one gets a nice tick in both areas. Obviously, we had less episodes because I think Series 12 had 4 episodes that were solely written by Chibnall, as opposed to Series 11 that had 5. And then as for the quality, say what you will about the quality of his scripts, but I personally felt like they were much better than what we had in Series 11. They still weren't quite as good as the Russell T Davies and Moffat scripts in my eyes, but they were still enjoyable and a lot more exciting. I would also like there to be more powerful historical episodes, much like what we had in Series 11. Sadly, I'm going to have to give a cross to this one. While we did have some more historical episodes, in my opinion, they weren't nearly as powerful or emotional as what we got in Series 11. They were still good episodes, don't get me wrong, but they just didn't have this profound effect on me that the Series 11 episodes did. Number 3 is that I want 2-parters to return. This one is a clear tick, as we had not one, but 2 2-parters in the series. Regardless of the quality of these episodes, I can't deny that I got exactly what I wanted here, so this one is a nice tick. Number 4 is that I want there to be more companion-centric stories. I'm going to have to give another cross to this one, as to be honest, I don't think any episode was companion-centric. You could argue to some degree Can You Hear Me was, but even then I just felt like the episode was more focused on the characters of the episode, like the Syrian woman from the past and Ryan's friend. I went into this episode hoping and actually assuming we would see a lot more of the companions' backstories along with their nightmares. But in the case of the nightmares, I think they barely lasted for 5 minutes of the episode. And while we did see a bit more of the companions' backstories, it didn't feel like enough. And thinking about it now, I'm wondering if it might be because we've got too many companions. I think if we only had one companion, like Yaz for instance, all that time that was spent showing the backstory of Graham and Ryan could be used to further expand Yaz's character. So yeah, what I'm getting at is, across the whole series, the companions had hardly anything to do. So sadly, this is a cross. Number 5 is that I want the Doctor to be given a lot more to do. This one is a nice obvious tick, as the 13th Doctor had so much to deal with in Series 12. She had the return of the Master, the revelation that Gallifrey was destroyed again, the revelation that there's an incarnation of herself that she didn't know about, the revelation that she's the timeless child, dealing with the lone Cyberman as well. There was just so much that the 13th Doctor had to go through in Series 12, and it was a very good series for giving Jodie Whittaker the opportunity to demonstrate just how good an actress she is. So this one is a nice tick. At number 6, I really want there to be much better new monsters than what we had in Series 11. This one gets a nice tick from me, as I thought the monsters in Series 12 were much better than the ones in Series 11. Going through them all quickly, we had the Kasavin, which had a brilliant concept behind them of being able to phase through anything. We had the Dregs, which are definitely my favourite monster of Series 12. I loved how terrifying they looked. We had the Skithra too, which were a nice arachnid type villain. We also had Zelin, which was an interesting humanoid villain with a cool idea of fingers being able to be detached. And then we had the villains in Praxeus as well, which, to be honest, I think are the weakest of Series 12, but I still think it's much better than what we had in Series 11. Still on the topic of monsters, I want more creatures from previous series to make a reappearance. This one was always going to be a tick, as at the time of recording that video, we knew that the Jadoon would be returning at least. But it was great that we had even more returning foes. We had the Cybermen returning in the finale, and of course we had the Master come back as well, played superbly by Sacha Dhawan. Still talking about the monsters and creatures of Doctor Who, at number 8 is the fact that I really want Chris Chibnall's Scariest Monster Ever to finally appear. So this is a tricky one, as without Chibnall confirming it himself in an interview, we'll never really know if his Scariest Monster Ever appeared in the show, but I like to think it did. And the villain I think it was the Kasavin. Thinking back to the interview I read with Moffat, which, as I said in last year's video, was years ago now, and sadly I can't find it, I swear he mentioned that part of the reason they couldn't use the monster in Series 7 was because of it needing CGI. So already the Kasavin fit the bill, as they are very CGI heavy monsters. There's also the fact that, unless my memory is deceiving me, I seem to remember Moffat saying the monster had a brilliant concept behind it, and you could argue again that applies to the Kasavin, as they had the genius idea of being able to phase through anything. So, unless Chibnall confirms otherwise, I am assuming that we've finally seen his Scariest Monster Ever. I really want there to be more episodes that have different music over the credits. Sadly, I have to give a cross to this one, as not a single episode ended with different music over the credits. I know episodes don't have to do this in order to be classed as good, but I just found that in the case of Series 11, the episodes that had much more of an impact on me were the ones that did this. As much as I enjoyed the episodes, none of them had an everlasting impression on me after the credits rolled, and I think this is in no small way down to the fact that, as per usual, the Doctor Who theme played over the credits. At number 10, I hope that the cast changes after Series 12. Clearly, this is another one I'm going to have to give a cross to, as at the end of the series, all 3 of the Doctor's companions are still part of the TARDIS team. However, it does look like, from rumours, that both Graham and Ryan will be leaving in Revolution of the Daleks, so fingers crossed we will get a shake-up to the TARDIS team soon. But for now, I'm going to have to give it a cross. Number 11 is that I really hope the new series has much better trailers than what we got in Series 11. This was a very close one, but in the end I'm going to have to give it a cross, as on the whole I found the trailers to be just as bad as the ones of Series 11. They were too short, they didn't make me excited for the following episode, and actually you could argue to some degree they got worse, because towards the end of the series trailers started to appear that were promoting the finale weeks before the finale would actually be on. I was just baffled by it, because you're meant to promote the episode that's coming up next, not saying, oh, you can skip this one, come back in a couple of weeks. So yeah, you could argue the trailers got worse, but the reason why I debated giving it a tick instead was I did actually think the trailers for the finale and the series opener, they were quite good and arguably better than the corresponding trailers for Series 11. The 12th thing that I hope happens in Series 12 is that we have much better behind the scenes. Sadly, this final point I'm going to have to give one last cross to, as I just thought they got worse, to be honest. Although they got rid of the access all areas type of vibe they were going for in Series 11, they still limited the behind the scenes to just 5-minute segments. And I'm not sure if they did this for Series 11, but I began to notice that of those 5 minutes, a lot of the time, the cast and crew were just describing the plot of the episode. So already we were limited to just 5 minutes of behind the scenes, but actually when you take out all the waffle, it was more like 2 or 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm still very disappointed with the behind the scenes, and I'm praying that with Series 13 and even Revolution of the Daleks, that we can finally get better behind the scenes again. So the final tally is 6 ticks and 6 crosses. I got half of what I wanted from the series, but sadly there was still 6 things that Series 12 didn't live up to, basically. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Series 12, but please keep it civil, and please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if this is your first time here, and until next time, bye!